quick study today on Habakkuk, and I thought it was really interesting. And just to go back to, I had a dream, I don't know, maybe 2-3 years ago, about a volcano, and so it's kind of always been in my thoughts as to what the volcano has meant and the significance of it. And so I'm going to read the Habakkuk real quick, and it talks about, it's in Habakkuk 3, and it starts off with the prayer of Habakkuk, and he's talking about that, we've heard about the Lord, we're filled with awe at the amazing things that he's done, and that we're in deep need, and that he needs to help us, as he has done in the years gone by, and that he needs to show us his power to save us, and to remember us, remember his mercy, even in his anger. And then it talks about, what a wonderful God he is, and just, the awesomeness of God, and how the nations tremble at him. And then it's talking about people in terror. And then he said, was it in anger, Lord, that you struck the rivers and parted the seas? And when you were displeased with them, no, you were sending your chariots of salvation. And I was like, well, this is kind of really weird. You're angry, but you're sending your chariots of salvation. And then it says, you were commanding your weapons of power. And I've never heard that said in that way in the Bible before. You split open the earth with flowing rivers, and the mountains watched and trembled. Onward swept the raging waters. The mighty deep cried out, lifting its hands to you, O Lord, and the lofty sun and moon began to fade, obscured by your brilliance from your arrows and the flashing of your glittering spear. How beautiful. You marched across the land in awesome anger and trampled the nations under your fury. You went out to rescue your chosen people and to save your anointed ones. You crushed the heads of the enemy and laid bare their bones from head to toe. With their own weapons you destroyed those who rushed out like a whirlwind, thinking that Israel would be easy prey. You trampled the sea with your horses, and the mighty waters piled high. I trembled inside when I heard all of this, and my lips quivered with fear. My legs gave way beneath me. I shook in terror. I will wait quietly for the coming day when the disaster will strike the people who invade us. Even though the fig trees have no blossom, and this is very significant because Bible studies tell us that when Jesus cursed the fig tree, it was to tell us of a time frame when the fig trees have no blossom. And scholars tend to believe that the fig tree having no blossoms is in our day. And there is no grapes on the vine, even though the olive crop fails and the fields lay empty and barren, even though the flocks die in the field and the cattle barns are empty. So it's like a plague. Something has happened, something monumental that, split the earth with flowing rivers, which I believe is lava. And the mountains watched and tremble. Onward swept the raging waters. I believe, again, that's just lava. It's a, remember, this person who's seeing it doesn't have any idea of what a volcano actually looks like. And then the mighty deep cried out, lifting its hands to the Lord. So something is coming up out of the deep. The lofty sun and moon began to fade. And that's kind of what really gave me, how does the moon and the sun fade? Well, if there's a lot of ash in the atmosphere, you won't be able to see it. And it's obscured by the brilliance from your arrows and the flashing of your glittering spear. And that one really threw me off. I was like, well, God's got a spear. How does this work? But then I started to think about it when he started to build the image of the volcano in my head. And really and truthfully, God is using a volcano as a weapon of his power. And, we look at it and we think, well, oh my gosh, that's horrible that, God would use a volcano to wipe people out in his anger. But what he's actually saying is that, no, he's sending chariots of salvation, and that he was commanding his weapons of power to split the ocean, right? And basically what it is if you think about it, if you think about a mass destruction, when that happens, especially if a volcano was to happen, how many people would fall to their knees? How many people would cry out for God? How many people will cry out for mercy because they know that their end is near? It's horrible, but it's beautiful all at the same time. I always say calamity brings the best out in people, because that's the time when we realize nothing else matters. Our material things don't matter. Our relationships with each other don't, they kind of do. When you're all dying, you want to huddle together. But what I mean is the things of this world no longer matter. What really matters is the calamity, the awesomeness, the things that are coming against us that are making us face our mortality. And that's when people stop and think of God, because we really don't think of God that often in our day-to-day, everyday lives. We're just really very comfortable. I mean, it's only really people that are facing some, trauma, trials, and even then some don't, but most of the time that's when people will really look and reach out to God and ask for help. So here you go. I mean, we got this volcano, and it's a time of, well, God is releasing his fury, but at the same time he's also releasing his mercy. I've just never read it like that before, and it's just like only God, right? Only God can just go, okay, here's something that you've been reading all your life, and then boom, opens up your brain with one little flip of a switch, and you get to see it in a totally different way. And even though the fig tree has no blossoms and there's no grapes on the vine, even though all of crops fail and the fields lie empty and barren, so the volcano has basically taken everything out, and the flocks die in the fields and the cattle barns are empty. Yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will be joyful in the God of my salvation. The sovereign Lord is my strength. So he's saying, even though all these things happen, even there's calamity, even though there's trials, even there's suffering, there's death, all the trauma, it's just absolute chaos. Rejoice. Rejoice because there is your salvation. And maybe that is because he is going to leave his chosen people behind, or, there will be chosen left behind that will bring those who are not to him through loving kindness and grace and his word, of course. And then, this is one of those verses that I've kind of had like as a mantra throughout my life. The sovereign Lord is my strength. He will make me as sure-footed as a deer and bring me safely over the mountains. As sure-footed as a deer. First of all, I just love to climb. I've always been like, I think it just brings something out of your body that makes you feel so good about yourself, and you're just like, pulling yourself up. And not that I've ever been like a mountain climber or anything like that. I just, growing up in an island that had a lot of hills and mountains and stuff like that, I was always finding myself on a trail that I had to pull myself up, climb over a waterfall, whatever. And to know, and when you are sure-footed, when you're confident where you're placing your next foot, but yet there's still that little, there's that possibility that you can fall off the side of the mountain. It's a rush, because you're confident in who has placed your foot on that mountain, because God is your strength. He is your salvation, and he makes you sure-footed as a deer, and he brings you safely over that mountain. So even though there may be a time coming where a natural calamity may overtake us and we're in a mess, rejoice in the Lord always. Again, and I say rejoice, and know that if you are his and he is yours, and I mean truly, not like half-hearted playing Christian, but hopefully at that time you'll see that what I've said is the truth, and he's spoken it forward, and that you would believe in him, and believe that, once you're just looking to him for complete leading in everything that you do, think, and say, that he will make you as sure-footed as a deer, even in the most perilous of times. And I pray this has blessed you, and I know it's kind of, the Lord is kind of showing me some stuff, and God bless. Take care.